Hi Dan here, Scooter Magazine. Right, today I'm just taking a look at some of the last few components that I've been accumulating for my TS1-240 build. And one of those items is the crank. This is the 62 stroke 110mm crank from Taylor Tuning. Daryl does a variety of cranks. He does the quite popular 60mm crank, the 62 which I've got, and then up to the big webbed 64 version. The 60 I believe comes in at £250. That's 60mm stroke with a milled conrod, which I'll explain a little bit about in a second. This is the 62 stroke version, which comes in I think around 280, and then the big webbed version, which is 64mm, I think is around £350. Now, Daryl's got these variety of webs to choose from, and then within each crank he has a variety of rods to choose from. For the 60 and 62s, you've got the choice of a 110, which I have got, a 115 or a 118, and they come with the 16mm little end. With the larger webs, the 64, you've got the choice of the 115, 120 or 125 rods, if you so desire, and they come with the 18mm little end. Now, one of the benefits of this is that Daryl uses these particular webs, and he uses them because they have a fabulous interference fit on the pin. So straight out of the box, these have got a very, very good propensity for not twisting. If you're going in a particularly high horsepower engine, you can talk to Daryl and see whether or not it'll be beneficial to do any welding on the pin. That's something he can do and does do. I've not needed it in this one because I think I'll be looking around the sort of mid 25 horsepower, maybe high 28, high 20s in that region, and I won't need that on this crank. But one of the other key benefits is traditionally a standard stroke would be 58mm. And usually when you go above that on Lambretta crank, you start to get the rod, therefore because the pin has been moved to increase the stroke, you start to get the rod peeping out at the top of the crank. And that would then subsequently start to rub on the engine casing, which is where people then either by hand trench this out or send it for machining. And in line with where the conrod sits, you would trench out 0.5mm, 1mm, whatever you need to account for the extra clearance on the crank. What Daryl does is he machines these big ends. These are the particular rod is, it looks to me like the ones that I used to use, which is the Yamaha rods, the Japanese Yamaha rods, and they come with a very thick big end area, lots of surface area, and there's plenty of room to machine small amounts off the bottom without affecting the integrity of the crank. And it's something Daryl does in his high horsepower motors. These have been run on race motors, sprinters, high horsepower road motors. It is really, really not a problem. And what it does is it alleviates the need to trench out your casings. So normally fitting a 62mm crank, you would have to trench out your casings in order to accommodate that. On some 60s you would, and some 60s you get away with it. But in either case, the 60s, the 62s that Daryl sells, with the milled and machined big end area of the rod, it just means that they slot straight in, which means when you're building an engine, like I am, that makes for a very favourable time saving and hassle reducing item. So good strong webs with good fit on the pin, Japanese conrods, variety of strokes, variety of rod lengths, variety of little end pin sizes, all round good choice, and these work well. So that's the crank I will be using in my TS1-240. If you need any further information on that, just get in contact with Daryl Taylor. See you on the next video.